Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Mishti and I love all things bookish. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you every single book I read in the month of March. And this is gonna be my March reading wrap up plus my April TBR because I have a mind-numbingly huge physical TBR that I need to finish off. I have just been reading on my Kindle constantly, and I need to ensure that those physical copies get read because I also have to review a few of them, so I'm a little behind on the reviewing, so I need to get on that as well. And this video is my chance to holding myself accountable. So, if you would like to know every single book I read in March and every single book I want to read in April, so keep watching, and I'm just gonna go straight into the books and let's go. So, the first book I read in the month of March is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy, and I think this is probably my favorite book out of every single book I read in March. And this is just such a powerful book in terms of everything, just like the themes it talks about, how it's written, it's so well structured. It's just like a really important and powerful book about resilience, identity, and this is basically Janet McCurdy's memoir. And I did not know of her prior to me reading her book. I knew of iCarly the show because One Direction went on that show, and I am a directioner, so I knew of that show. And I mean, I never followed the show, but when I found out that, oh, like the actor has written a memoir, I really wanted to read it. And just like it talks about how her life as a child actor was influenced so much by her narcissistic mother, and how her mother pushed her into the spotlight and like sort of just like made her become a child actor. And while she was really grateful for all the financial security that came with it, it wasn't something that she wanted to pursue for herself. So yeah, so the mother controlled every single aspect of her life. We're talking like she used to weigh her daughter every single day, she used to shower her daughter even in her late teens, and just like her money, what her thoughts were and what she was supposed to eat. She used to like calorie restrict her daughter, and all of this was done in the name of just like being a caring mother. And it's just a really wonderful book. And if you think that you're gonna get some like gossip and drama about the TV show experience that Jeanette went through, it isn't like that. But even when she talks about those shows, when she talks about those life, about the life that she led in the time, she talks about how everybody wants that fame, but they don't realize what comes with it. And this wasn't something that she wanted for herself. And she talks about how she did not like Ariana Grande when they were shooting together. And yeah, so it's just like a really well done book, and it's a very well rounded book. It's a beautiful book, and I think everybody should read it. It might be a little triggering for some people, but you should definitely check out the trigger warnings first. But other than that, it's a really powerful book. There are a lot of difficult, intense themes, so it's a difficult read, so you can take it slow. But I think it's gonna really, really help you understand what a child actor goes through, about eating disorders, about growing up as a child character, and how just like people associate your worth with that particular one character you did when you were a kid. So yeah, I rated 5 stars, and it's just a really, really wonderful book, and I think you should check it out right now. The next book I read was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This was the second Abby Jimenez book I've read, and this book was just like pure serotonin. So the two characters are just like going through their the main female character, she's going through a messy divorce. She has a sick brother, and she also is now working through a new co-worker that she absolutely dislikes at the very first meeting, because she has a sick brother and she's going through all of it. And the new coworker seems to be a little closed off ish at the first meeting. So when Dr. Jacob, so the name of the male doctor is Dr. Jacob, and Dr. Jacob, when he surprises her with like a heartfelt letter, it's just that's when everything changes. And it's just like such a cute book. It has so much depth, and I think one thing that Abby Jimenez does really well is her books are just like the perfect mix of sugar and spice. That it just means that there's so much depth, but there's also a little bit of spice, and her books just have so much more to the love story. And I think I that's what I loved the most about this book. It just has so much going on, and every single character is just so heartwarming, and I love the found family aspects of it. If you don't know me, I love found family. And this is a story about how first impressions can be false, and second chances are sometimes really worth your time. And yeah, so their connection, it builds through like passing each other little notes. And yeah, they actually do share a sub closet because the guy character, he has anxiety, and both of them use that sob closet for just like having a breakdown and sharing lunches there. And yeah, it was just a really great book. That's all I'm gonna say, because it was really just that. And I think if you like romance books, this should be definitely on your TBR, because it's just like so wonderfully written. I love Abby Jimenez's books, and I'm so excited. She has a new book coming out, I think sometime this year. I'm not sure, but I think it's called Say You'll Remember Me. It comes out sometime this year, and I'm really excited for that also. So that's one of my most anticipated books of the year. So I'm really excited. So the third book I read in the month of March is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. And okay, so hear me out. A female food critic who is also a cannibal. I just had to read it. You could not have stopped me. But I feel like it fell a little bit short. I think it had so much potential. It could have been done really, really well, but there wasn't much going on, and it just felt unnecessarily long. And it isn't that long, but it just felt that way because it wasn't done well. I feel like it had a lot of potential, because I support women's rights, but I also support women's wrongs. Such an exciting premise, a really, really fun concept, but it could have been done a little bit better. It fell a little short, and I think it's a little overhyped in my opinion. And yeah, so Dorothy, the narrator, she is basically a food critic who is in prison, and she is telling the story of her life through, like, from the prison. And she tells us everything she eats while she was out, and while she was living the time, while she was having the time of her life. And yeah, so she does all of that, and she tells us what she ate, and what she ate also includes the men she ate. So she would sleep with men, and then she would eat them. So she would kill them and then eat them, and like, and she would just like have a huge feast, and she would like cook them in like a very bougie manner. And it's a little slow. It takes a bit to get to the cannibalism part of the book. Why why am I like this? Anyways, it takes a little bit of time to get to the cannibalism part of the book, but once it does that, that's when it starts to get a little bit interesting. But it's pretty slow, and it felt a little short. So I mean, it's not for everybody, but you could definitely check it out. And yeah, I had higher hopes from it. So okay, so the next book I read is Rebecca, and I finally read Rebecca this last month, and I am so mad at myself for not reading this sooner, because I knew that I would like it, but I don't know why I kept putting it off for so long. I read this book in 3 days, and it was just so wonderful. So I follow this one creator called Ruby Granger religiously. I love everything she puts out, and in one of her videos recently, she was talking about Rebecca, and she said that everybody should read this book once in their life. And I was like, okay, now you have me convinced. So I stopped the video right there and then, and I got started on reading Rebecca, and I'm so glad, because this book just has everything. So it's like your classic gothic, tense, mysterious, and in terms of vibes. And this is the kind of book you just have to read, and it's like a very scary gothic horror, and it's like Jane Eyre, but like more haunting in a sense. Get like completely wrapped up in the narrator's insecurity, how Maxim, the main character, is very cold, he's very distant, and the looming ghost of Rebecca, and she just keeps haunting the characters, and she isn't even alive, and but she still dominates every inch of their lives, and it's just like it's just very very wonderful. And Mrs. Danvers is the house, what do you call them, like caretaker of the house. So yeah, she takes care of the house, of the mansion Mandalay, and she's just so terrifying. Oh my god, I think I've never been scared of a character more, and you just don't know what Mrs. Danvers wants. I feel like she's the kind of person that would just like kill you in your sleep. And yeah, but like other than that, I just really enjoyed this book. I'm so glad I read it, and I'm so mad at myself for not reading it sooner. And I can now actually see, I know why this is such a huge cult classic, because you can just like feel the legacy in the way it's written, and it's just such a monumental book, and everybody should read it once in their life. And I now understand what Ruby meant, so I'm so glad I finally read it. The next book I read was Taylor Jenkins Reid's Carrie Soto Is Back, and Taylor Jenkins Reid just like does everything she does so well, and her books are perfect for people who are in a reading slump, because I assure you her books will get you out of your reading slump. And so for example, if somebody asks me, sorry about the horn, so if somebody asks me that, oh, I was a reader before but I need to get back into reading, what would you recommend me? Any Taylor Jenkins Reid book is the one I would recommend a person who wants to get back into reading. And okay, so Carrie Soto is a tennis player, and she is a tennis legend, and she has a reputation for being cold and ruthless, and she's a cold, calculated, and addicted to victory like player. And her record is threatened by a rising athlete, and she decides to come back out of retirement to make sure that she can still hold back that hold back her title, and she doesn't lose her title that she's worked her entire life for. And just like watching her fight to receive her title back is so like refreshing and so addictive. And yeah, this book is just so multifaceted. There is a romance element, but it's like very less. It's more about Carrie Soto's life, and Carrie Soto asserting her talent and asserting everything she's ever learned and worked for in the matches that follow up to her final actual retirement. And even if you're not into tennis, and I am definitely not a sports person, I don't do sports, and I'm the kind of person who's gonna go sports, and I would have no idea what it means to attend a sports match. I don't do sports, but this is just one of those books that's still gonna hook you in, and it's written in a way that it's very easy to follow, and you'll be very invested. And I assure you, you'll really really love this book. And just honestly, any Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but Kai Soto was really nice, and it isn't my favorite, but I still really, really enjoyed it. The next book I read is The House of My Mother by Shari Franke, and this is also a memoir. I have been really into memoirs, and this is also a book that the recommendation came from Ruby's channel. And I say Ruby as if she's like my best friend, but I feel like I've just like grown up with her videos. But anyways, so this book is so devastating. It is so just like it made me feel so disturbed, but it's such an important book. So in The House of Mother, Shari Franke, she tells the story about growing up under the shadow of the now infamous Eight Passengers channel. So if you don't know what the Eight Passengers were, they were a family YouTube channel where the mother, Ruby Franke, and she used to post about their family life up online, and she had this wholesome image. She had like millions and millions of followers and subscribers, and she did all of this while at home she was enforcing a very abusive and strict discipline behind the scenes. And so Shari wrote this book just to take back the narrative, and the story is about survival and how her mother emotionally controlled them, emotionally manipulated them, and just like the public exposure that she and her siblings never consented to. And in the book, she does not mention the names of her four youngest siblings, and honestly, that's more privacy that Sherry gave them as compared to what their mother put them through. And it's just like about breaking away from a cult like ideology, and which is so interconnected with the influencer culture and religious rigidity, and just like reclaiming her voice and making sure people know what the behind the scenes of that family YouTube channel was. This book is about like questioning the ethics of family vlogging. In one of her videos, Franke says that there is no ethical family vlogger, there's no ethical way of family vlogging, which I think is so true. And also just about true crime consumption, because people behind the scenes, like us behind the screens, we won't recognize what's happening in somebody's life behind those videos. When that video ends, you only get to see like a 10-minute or 20-minute or 30-minute glimpse into their lives, and it's just like how we watch pain unfold from the safety of our own houses. One of those books that even if you don't if you even if you aren't familiar with the Eight Passengers family YouTube channel, I think that's now been taken down, but it's just like about how exploiting children isn't the way to go, and it doesn't romanticize suffering. It's about ensuring that people, and especially children, do not get to be on the internet, and especially not being forced to get on the internet, and they are not monetized on. So yeah, this was a really powerful book, and it is so disheartening, but I feel like this is one of those books that needs to be out there, it needs to be out in the world. And yeah, okay, so the next book I want to talk about is Ghosts by Dolly Alderton, and this one I have mixed feelings on. I feel like it didn't just like land for me, and I love everything Dolly Alderton writes. I've read all of her four books, and I can now say that this is my least favorite, and it just did not do it for me. And okay, so basically Nina is a 30 something year old writer, and she is navigating love, friendships, and a father who is fading away into dementia. And on the surface, it feels like a very sharp, relatable look at modern life and relationships, but the execution just like fell short. And I don't think this is the Dolly Alderton book you should start with. It did not do it for me, and it just has so much potential. It has a classic like Dolly Alderton signature style of writing, which was still very enjoyable to read. But also maybe it could be that I am too young to understand what it means to just like navigate the modern dating landscape in your 30s. But also, isn't that the whole point of fiction, to like put yourself in somebody else's shoes? And it just did not do it for me. And I just wanted more vulnerability and just like for the plot moments, and it had its moments, but I just felt underwhelmed. I would not recommend it. If you want to read Dolly Alderton, you can read any of her remaining three books. You can read Everything I Know About Love, you can read Good Material, you can read Dear Dolly. All of those three books are really really good, but Ghosts I would not recommend. So okay, so the penultimate book I read in March was Send Nudes by Saba, and this also fell a little short. So I think I rated it 3 stars, and this is a short story collection that basically dives deep into the messy, intimate, and often like chaotic world of girlhood and young womanhood. And each story it follows like a different narrator, and it's just like girls navigating friendship, sexuality, family, and the weird, complicated process of just like figuring out life. And some of the stories were nice, like they had that introspection going on, and others felt a little bit repetitive, and I think it could have done a lot better. But some were good, some weren't. And yeah, I actually don't know what it was about because I did not enjoy it, and I had to push myself through it. And I don't like DNFing books. That's something fundamentally wrong about my brain, but I don't like DNFing, so I just had to like push through this book. And okay, so the next book I read in the month of March is The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. And if you know me, you know I love Elle Kennedy. And also, fun fact, she also follows me on Instagram, which I'm so happy for. And I'm so glad she follows me and she hasn't unfollowed me. And I remember when she followed me, I was like, did she accidentally follow me? What if she unfollows me after 2 days? Anyway, she did not. Happy to announce. Yeah, so The Charlie Method is the third book in the Campus Diary series, and this is such classic Elle Kennedy. This is such a classic Elle Kennedy book, and this is very messy, steamy, and a very emotionally charged ride. And follow Charlie, who is this thrill-seeking, double life living daredevil by night, and she ends up anonymously chatting with two hockey players, Will and Beckett. And that turns out to be more than just like two hot guys on a dating app. It turns into a romance, and this isn't just like your classic romance book. There's a lot more to it. It's very spicy, it's very steamy, and it's definitely not like your typical romance book. And it's not like Charlie ends up with one of the two hockey players, she ends up with actually both of them. And it just had solid character arcs, very messy decisions, and a lots of vulnerability. And I feel like the Charlie's adoption arc could have been explored a little bit better, but other than that, it was a really, really fun read. And honestly, I just love everything Elle Kennedy writes. And it's just, even if the plot doesn't live up to the hype sometimes, because the Off Campus series is my all time favorite series, and it's just great for the nostalgia. And I just love everything Elle Kennedy writes. The sports romance world she creates are unsurpassed, and I don't think anybody will ever do hockey romance as good as Elle Kennedy can. Okay, so I want to talk about two books I did not finish. Oh, I don't want to say I did not finish. I like to say that I'm putting them on hold. I don't like saying that I'm DNFing them. Okay, so the first book I am putting on hold is Bunny by Mona Wad, and I feel like this book was good, but it maybe I wasn't in the right headspace at the moment. And I think I was 70% in with that book, and I just could not go through with it. And the second book I have put on hold is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. And this was a really beautiful premise, but I feel like it was going a little bit slow, and I just wasn't in the mood for that. So that's also the one I'm putting on hold. And I'm also currently reading Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. I'm 75% in that book, and that would go in my April reading wrap up. And yeah, that's a weird book. And so that's it for everything I have been reading in March. And on to my April TBR now. So I have a whole lot of physical books that I need to tend to, and I have just been constantly reading on my Kindle that I haven't touched a physical book in ages. So I want to get started on that. So I'm gonna make this section just so I can hold myself accountable, and so you guys can hold me accountable. And so just like you can ensure that these books end up on my April reading wrap up. Okay. So the first book on my April TBR is Dream Count by Chimamanda Adichie, and this is her latest release. And I think all of these books were really kindly sent to me by publishers, and I also need to like review and feature them, so just like share my thoughts on them. So I really want to read Dream Count. I read We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Adichie, and I read it for my G exam. And that was that I think that was a TED talk, and it was like transformed into an essay, and that was a really good one. And the next one I want to talk about is Room on the Sea by Andre Asman. This is an arc, just like look, see, it says, oh wait, yeah, it says April 2025, and this is an arc, and it releases on 10th April. And I'm really excited to read this one. I loved Call Me By Your Name, and I'm really excited to read Room on the Sea by Andre Asman. And okay, so another book I want to really want to read is Gold Rush by Olivia Peter, and I have seen this book all over the internet, and I'm so excited to like finally get to this. And just like the premise of this book is really exciting. And okay, so I'm just going to read you out a line. We give celebrities a power they don't deserve, power they haven't earned. What happens when they exploit it? And I just love everything like celebrities and pop culture, and I'm really excited for this one. Okay, the next one is Counterattacks at 30 by one. I'm not gonna pronounce the name because I don't wanna mess it up. But this is the newest release by the author of Almond, and I loved Almond. Almond is a book where the main character is unable to feel emotions and any emotions at all, and just like how that character navigates life. And yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Sorry about the halt. My mother was disturbing me. And okay, the next book I'm gonna read is Sociopath by Patrick Gagney. This is again a memoir. I have been enjoying memoirs so much, and they are just like a brilliant way to learn so much about things and people's experiences. And this is a book, I think it talks about how this person was diagnosed with the mental disorder of being a sociopath. And I'm going to read you out the blurb because it's really interesting. So, I am a criminal without a record. I am a master of disguise. I have never been caught. I have rarely been sorry. I am friendly. I am responsible. I am invisible. I blend right in. I am a 21st century sociopath. And I've written this book because I know I'm not alone. And that just sounds so interesting. And I know if I don't read this, I'm going to regret it because I just want to read it so bad. And it's like so interesting. Okay, the next book I want to read is We Do Not Part by Han Kang. And if you don't know Han Kang, are you living under a rock? And okay, so she won the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature last year and for like her body of work, and this is her latest book and I'm so excited to read this. I also got very kindly sent this to me by publishers and I'm so grateful that I get to read all these wonderful brilliant books that maybe I would not have discovered otherwise. And yeah, this I'm definitely going to read it. I will comment and hold me accountable. Okay, next up, I want to read The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. I love Frida McFadden books, and they are just so smart and witty. And I feel like she just does thrillers and murder mysteries so brilliantly. And this is one of her newest books, and I'm really excited to read it. And yeah, so because I am a mood reader, I cannot read books until and unless I'm in the particular headspace to read them. So you're gonna notice a lot of variety because I need to give myself options. Otherwise, I'm just gonna end up not reading them and end up reading on my Kindle again. And the next book I'm gonna read is Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. And I haven't explored a lot of her work. I read The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey, and I think that was also a sports romance. And this book is also a sports romance, and I just love sports romance. I have a soft spot for them. And yeah, so that's all for my April TBR. That's 7 books for my April TBR because I know I'm gonna also end up reading on my Kindle. Okay, so some of the books that are on my Kindle that I really want to read are I want to read Boulder, and I want to read The Invisible Life of Adi Luru, and I'll read all fours. Oh my god, I want to read so many books. I'll read Evenings and Weekends. I want to read Big Swiss, and I want to read The Happy Couple. I want to read Wishes by V. Schwab. I want to so many books. I want to read Open Water, and basically the point was that I have sorry, oops. So yeah, I was saying the point was that I have kept 7 books from my physical TBR because I know I'm gonna want to read those books as well. That's it for my April TBR and my March reading wrap up. I hope you guys also end up reading some of these books, and feel free to tell me in the comments every book you read in March, and I would love to talk to you in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you guys are having a good day and happy reading. Thank you for watching. Also, if you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments if you liked or disliked any of these books. Let's talk. And yeah, hold me accountable for my April TBR, please. I need to read these books, and also just like the constant thought in my head goes that there are so many books that I need to read, that I need to step up and read, because otherwise I don't have all the time in the world to read every single book I want to read, and that's just very sad. So hold me accountable for my April books. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys get some good recommendations out of this video. And yeah, thank you for listening to me talk for I don't know how long this videos are even gonna be, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video, and bye.